So hello, welcome back to Go Again Gaming. My name is Az, and we're going to have a top 4 League That Means Nothing game here on the channel today. First of all, just want to shout out Ian Holland from the Irish lot. For doing a lot of the coverage here on the League That Means Nothing Season 2. But I'm going to wrap it up. There's not much time now before Japan and the flights and everything, so I'm just going to be wrapping up these videos and releasing them before we head out to Japan, which you're going to see a lot of vlogs for very, very soon. But today is going to be an interesting game. We've got Carlota Fernandez, which was the Season 1 champion of the League That Means Nothing, facing off against Kenneth, who was actually on Dromai on the League That Means Nothing Season 1. But here we are, top 4, Azalea versus Enigma. Now this should be an interesting one. Enigma is very much like a DPS check for a lot of decks, because once she gets established, once she can sort of have that castle strategy where she wants to set up this massive Mirage and then just absolutely hammer on in, it is a hard one to deal with. But Azalea is pretty well equipped to deal with a lot of the stuff there, but she can fall prey to just having the constant sort of board state of Enigma and the threat that entails. Azalea and Rangers in general also have access to something called Murkmire Grapnel, which is a fantastic piece of kit against these heroes that like ward. So that could also come into effect as well. And as you can see, Azalea or Carlota using the amazing Azalea Cult sleeves that I had done, very, very limited edition. And she's also using the Praise Be Azalea Cult membership card, which is nice and sleeved up there, and also a bunch of Azalea tokens that I had made, which I think you can go and check out on Fabritorium. I sent her a big package because she's just been a lover of Azalea for the longest time. You know, whether Azalea has been good or bad, Carlota has been through it all with us, and that's obviously worthy of an Azalea Cult membership card. And I'm also going to be giving away Azalea Cult membership cards in Osaka. So if you find me, ask for an Azalea Cult membership card, and I will sign it and give you one. Very much like that one that Carlotta's got there alongside her life total. But here we go. Good luck, have fun, and we're going to crack on with the game here in the top 4 of the League That Means Absolutely Nothing Season 2. Season 3 is right around the corner as well, so stay tuned on how you can enter that. Join the Discord, links in the description box below, to get notified of when that goes live, because I'm going to be pushing it out to the Discord members first. And going from there. But yeah, it looks like Carlota will be on the play here. Now, there's a couple of things that Azaleas can do to really, really set up on the first turn, and that's a card called, oh, there we go, Take Aim. So this is one of the things that allows you to activate your cross wrap on turn 1, whereas you wouldn't normally be able to do that, which is pretty cool. So Take Aim sneaking into lists as of this year, and she's just going to opt revealing a drill shot and having a look at the top card to see if they can get a dominated arrow through on turn 1, which is always nice to have. It's always nice to have a dominate turn 1, and Take Aim really does sort of open up that avenue for you, which is pretty nice. But still, a +3 on a Ranger attack. And interesting thing about Take Aim, I think it's the only card that says your next Ranger attack gets +3. Everything else, I think all the buffs will just say your next arrow attack gets blah blah blah. So there's a couple of interesting synergies with that. Like when Death Touch first came out, I was like, wow, you can actually use Take Aim with this. Death Touch for 9. Which is pretty cool, but that's old news. What we are doing now is just finding out what we can do. It looks like we're just going to go for a big 10 attack here on the drill shot. So this is just raw damage at this point. Obviously, the drill shot is threatening the -1 counter on the equipment, but the buffs behind it and the release attention and take aims are just buffs. Release attention, of course, saying you can't play any D-reacts from Arsenal, but that doesn't matter on turn 1. But yeah, 10 damage, still nothing to be sniffed at. And yeah, I mean, depending on what Enigma's hand looks like, whether there's a couple of Transcend cards, you might actually leak some damage here if you do go tall, which is pretty nice. And obviously, we can see that Carlota's going to be able to Arsenal a card at the end of this turn as well. So nice little start here. Burning away 2 buffs that they're not necessarily your strongest buffs. So if this does get blocked out, you're not really that mad, because obviously all your other buffs, like your lace widths, are the real value pieces, and seek and destroys and stuff. So good to know that those aren't going to waste early. So just sending a large 10 attack at Kenneth's face, who is running a fantastic part of the Misfield playmat there. But it looks like it's going to be blocked for, is that 8? We got Astral Etchings, which I think is, yeah, it's blocked for 8. It's taking 2. and getting the drill shot effect off here, so going to be able to place a -1 counter on a piece of equipment, which I imagine will probably be the Traverse, to just take some value away from that insanely powerful headpiece. Of course, we've got is that the Meridian Pathway as well? Yep, so we haven't got the Illusionist boots, we've got the Meridian, we've got the new card from Rosetta, which is the Calming Gesture, I believe, which allows you to crack it for 1 to get a Spectral Shield, and yep, the counter is going on the Traverse, so that's good to know. So that Traverse is now blocking for 1 instead of 2. Why did Traverse have to block for 2? Goodness gracious me, what a card. But yeah, nice to get a little bit of damage through on Enigma, and Kenneth is going to draw up to 4, and Carlota likewise, and it's going to go over to Kenneth, who's going to tick up the Tunic and carry on with his turn on the 38 life for Enigma. Yeah, Enigma is capable of some absolutely horrendous things. Manifestations of Miraga is one of the most insane cards we've ever seen. I think in general, to be honest, that thing is just an absolute beat stick. So as soon as that gets established, you need to start racing. You need to start overextending to try and leak some damage through to get rid of it. We're just going to see Kenneth just think about what he wants to do to start off the turn here. Should be interesting to see how Kenneth gets going. But Enigma can establish such a board state, and the Cosmo card basically turns all of your wards into weapons, which is a fantastic card as well. Just making the deck work, basically. It's just one of those cards like Dromai's Storm of Sandakai, which basically just an extension of the hero itself to a certain degree. There is no weapon with Dromai or this iteration of an Illusionist, just a weapon that allows you to play the deck essentially. But yeah, Kenneth thinking long and hard about how he's going to crack at Azalea on this very, very first turn, whether there's going to be some form of aura weapon established, or there's other cards as well that Kenneth can use, like big Phantasm attacks, potentially. Phantasmaclasm's come back into lists recently. That is a big attack, and this is just going to be a pretty sad Sacred Art Immortal Lunar Shrine, so not getting the effect of anything else here, just choosing to transcend to get a chi into the hand, and seeing what the follow-up is of this. Maybe a pitch into Enigma. Yep, looks like it's going to be a pitch into Enigma to create a Spectral Shield with a +1 counter, which will allow him to attack, which he's going to do for 2 with Go Again because of Enigma's ability. But yeah, I'm sure Kenneth will probably be happy with that. But it's a little bit of a shameful Sacred Art, unfortunately. That's not the way you want to see legendaries played without playing the blue before it. But Carlota is just going to take 2 damage here. And then Kenneth is going to Dissolve Reality, another piece of Illusionist tech that can really screw with Azalea and Rangers in total, in general, I should say, and creating a Ponder token for each player. But depending on what Carlota has established in her arsenal last turn, it could be a real spanner in the works for this Azalea, because Azalea now can't activate her headpiece. If that was an arrow that's gone to the bottom and there's no arrows in hand, it could just mean a dead turn for Azalea. So there's a lot of things that Illusionists have access to that can really screw with the plans of an Azalea player, including things like Warmongers as well, another thing that could probably will be present in Kenneth's list, because it is just a solid blue block with a ridiculous effect against Azalea. But yeah, so nice to see Carlota using some of the tokens that I gave her, which I should have some of those tokens at Osaka as well. So if you are watching this, if you do see my mullet walking around Osaka and you want some tokens, come and say hi and I'll give you some. Yeah, Dissolve Reality, a great card for just messing with Rangers, and that's exactly what's happened here. Over to Carlota. She's going to tick up her Tunic and see what happens as a result of that interaction with the Arsenal. We will see. Thinking long and hard about what this is now. What was that established in the Arsenal? We're never gonna know. But Azalea is one of those heroes that loves to just work off of those 5-card hands, 6-card hands. Really, if you count the extension of the top of your deck as a card that you can play, which most of the time you can if you've established your Arsenal, because you can just switch out with Azalea. But here we go. We're going to see what the top card is anyway with a Read the Glide Path. Looking at the top card to see what is going on. And it looks like Carlotta's just going to leave that there. So potentially you could draw that off of Death Dealer if you put an arrow into your arsenal and then draw that card that she's seen. So maybe that's what she's going to do here, potentially. But no arsenal established as of yet. And, oh no. Okay. Looks like Ponder is going to crack. So was that the only arrow that Carlota had that Kenneth got rid of? If so, that's a big tempo swing. That's a big tempo swing there. And we haven't even started yet, really. That's pretty much it. Yeah, the Ponder's going to crack, and she's going to establish an arsenal again. So that Dissolve Reality really coming in clutch there. I mean, Kenneth's turn wasn't that strong. Obviously, having to play that Immortal, that Sacred Art Immortal Lunar Shrine with no blues being played behind it, but then following on with that Dissolve Reality could have saved that turn there, and that's what we're going to see now. Kenneth going over to his turn with a full grip and Tunic on 2, and he's just going to swing in for 2 first of all with this free attack from Cosmo and Enigma's ability. So coming in for 2 with Go Again on the Spectral Shield, which I imagine Azalea is probably just going to eat to the face. I would love to eat Azalea's face, but there we go. But I think she's probably just going to eat this, I imagine. Azalea doesn't want to be blocking these little things. Nope, there we go. 2 damage going through. And let's see what Kenneth have next. But that was that Dissolve Reality was huge this early on. And Kenneth just being able to swing in for free damage with that Spectral Shield and establish and attack with something else now. And it's going to be a Manifestations of Mirage, pitching a Ripple Away. So it is going to be a small dragon, but still something that Carlota is going to have to deal with ASAP. So this is going to be coming in for 4 with the Mirage. So pretty insane start. Azalea is just going to take that as well. And already a 6 life differential here, and Kenneth has established. And oh my god! Warmongers, what a chain ender. That is insane. And they're both choosing war. Wow, okay, that's not good. That is not good. So not only has Kenneth established his board, he's also disrupted Azalea's arsenal, and now he's disrupting the attacks and non-attacks. And Carlota is slowly realising here that she can't use her cross-wrap there as a result of choosing war. So that is just not a nice card to see. A couple of back-to-back turns from Kenneth here that are really screwing with this Azalea player. And Carlota are just going to be pitching a Lace With to come in with a Remorseless for 5. That's pretty much all she can do, unless she can maybe snappies it and then use Death Dealer afterwards to put another arrow in. But that does seem like a bit of an overextension this early. However, there is a Mirage on board, which is very, very dangerous. So, yeah, that's it's not nice. It's not nice. Carlota up against it here. But we've seen her come through worse in previous leagues that mean nothing. But this match could mean something to somebody. We are in the top 4 now. And 2 Enigmas in the top 4 as well. We've got Kenneth and Chris both playing Enigma. Kenneth obviously against Azalea here, and Chris up against Viserai, which you may or may not have already seen, depending on the scheduling here. Let's just say that you haven't seen it yet. The Viserai versus Enigma game is coming tomorrow. Let's say that. Let's go with that. But yeah, Kenneth just really thinking how he wants to block this. Obviously, he's got Ward 2 out on board from the Mirror Guy, so he only has to block with 1 3-block from hand, because the Mirror Guy will eat up the 2, or choosing to block it all with Dissolve Reality and Levels of Enlightenment, so just no damage going through, protecting the Mirror Guy and Spectral Shield as well here. Maintaining 3 cards in hand with a 6 life differential seems pretty good. And of course, that is Carlota's turn over, and now no longer under the effect of Warmonger's Diplomacy. So, unfortunately for Carlota, she's just had a lot of interaction that she couldn't really deal with, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, Kenneth going to come in again for 2 with Go Again on the Spectral Shield. Carlota is just going to eat that damage. And now we're going to see what looks like another Mirror Guy coming in for 4 with Go Again, pitching a Treserved Tradition. And the 4... what's that going to be done? Is that going to be blocked? We're not sure, but let's be honest, a hammer for 4 for one resource is absolutely insane. So the thing is as well that when you're in this position, you just have to take all the damage and then just send your full card hand, and then a shimmer's established as well. But that, post-production, for all those behind the scenes, I've already edited this game. I'm just commentating over it, so I kind of know what happens, but I've given myself a little bit of time to forget what happened. But yeah, that should not have been played under Warmongers because of the fact it's a non-attack action card. It is an action card, so you can't actually play that while you're under the Warmongers effect. So Kenneth should not have the Shimmers of Silver established right now after the choosing War on the Warmongers for the previous turn. So that's a little bit of a shame that was missed, because that's going to accrue a lot of value over the course of the game. Well, we will see. But yeah, beautiful card nonetheless. A fantastic card in this particular build. And Illusionist as well. So yeah, a lot of people thinking that the Shimmers of Silver Lady, as well as the Amira from multiple other blue Illusionist cards, was the Illusionist that we were expecting in Part of the Mistveil, but it turns out that it was just Enigma, a completely different hero than what everyone was expecting. But we're going to start off Azalea's turn here, or Carlota's turn, with a cross wrap, revealing a Lace of Inertia, looking at the top card of the deck to see what is coming on this turn. But obviously we're going to play the Lace with Inertia out of the arsenal, probably just go extremely high and tall now, activating Death Dealer to put in a Murkmire Grapnel, perfect card. Then we're going to draw a card as well. We're going to have one floating in the resource area. Yeah, so Murkmire Grapnel is going to be a very, very good card to get through all of that ward. Now we're going to see a Read the Glide Path. So again, having another look at the top card of the deck, seeing what it is. Azalea activation is still active, but I think Carlota is just going to want to fire that Murkmire, get rid of that stuff. And Murkmire is currently at, wow, okay. The Murkmire is currently at +9 because of the Lace Width. Well, 2 Lace Widths at the moment. So yeah, currently at +9 with 2 on hits. And oh my god! Carlota just casually assembling the Infinity Gauntlet for Azalea here, and using all 3 Plagues, plus a Read the Glide Path to come in for a massive 13 damage, I believe. So yeah, that's +12, no, sorry, 16 damage. Holy hell, I was wrong. 16 damage, yeah, it's +12 and then +4, wow. Yeah, 16 damage coming in at Kenneth's way, and this is exactly what Azalea needed. Azalea needed to have a huge, massive setup turn, just giving her enough room to do so, and now Kenneth's whole board is threatened with no damage prevention, and it's likely that a lot of the cards in hand will have ward as well, so that means absolutely nothing, very much like this league in this particular scenario. So this is exactly what Carlota needed to get back into this game. A huge attack coming in for 16 with 3 on hits, which cannot be prevented by ward or any measure of damage prevention. So this is awesome to see. 16 damage, and of course the aim counter text on Murkmire does not matter in this particular case, but it's something that I'm going to be taking to Osaka. So people that follow me on Blue Sky, you should probably go and do that, because I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff on there as that becomes more sort of popular and used. People would have already seen that I'm going to be running a Sandscour Great Blow list with aim counter shenanigans in Osaka for the calling, I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, it should be fun. But yeah, Murkmire Grapnel coming in for 16 damage. Kenneth, rightly so, taking his time to understand how to deal with this. This is a large swing back in Azalea's favour, and hopefully we have a game in our hands now, because all of that chain of interaction from Kenneth at the start there was really tough for Azalea, so it's nice to see her assemble some semblance of a big, massive 16 damage swing with a multitude of Infinity Gauntlet on hits. But yeah, I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever assembled the Lace with Lottery. I don't think I've ever done that since I've started playing Azalea. But when it happens, it's absolutely beautiful to see. And Kenneth, rightly so, just thinking about how he's going to deal with this. But it looks like he's going to be blocking for 1 with the Traverse, because that's only blocking for 1, of course. So still 15 damage to try and soak up. A sink below is going to be 5. So that's 5 damage sunk up. Choosing to sink a card to maybe draw into something that might be able to help. So currently blocking for 5, needs to stop 11 damage here. Obviously no damage is being prevented through the use of Murkmire Grapnel. Currently blocking for 5 on the headpiece for 1 and the sink below for 4. The sink below did sink a card, so he does have access to another card in hand now, which could help or could just not do anything else. So currently blocking for 5. I think Kenneth is just doing the maths on this. It's a lot of maths. It's a lot of numbers coming in there. 16, so still got 11 to cover up. Quite a lot. Not quite sure. Oh, okay, yeah, going to search for the chi, which was earlier. So yeah, Kenneth going to search for the chi. The shuffle of the deck should have happened before the card was drawn from sink below, I believe. But there we go. These things happen. So the chi is going to go to hand as well, which is pretty good, depending on what the follow-up is. But there's still quite a lot of damage coming in. 11 damage coming in here from the Murkmire. Still got 11 to cover up. Wow, okay, another sink below. Is he going to sink again? Doesn't look like it. So that's covering up 9. So still got 7 to cover up here. So it's covering up, yep, 8 and then 1 on the helmet. So that is 9 currently. So still needs to block 7 damage. Is that even possible to block at this point? No way. No way. That's insane. No chance does he have an unmovable as well. Carlota just like, okay then, whatever. Wow, that is ridiculous. So that is fully blocked. Despite the counter on Traverse, still being able to soak up 16 damage with 3 D-reacts. Wow, that was ridiculous. Traverse is gone now. But I don't think Kenneth really cares at all. That was the turn for Azalea to come back into it and threaten the board state and some life. But 3 D-reacts? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And now another Manifestations of Mirage. Wow, okay. This is... Yeah, this is tough. This is tough times, and he's going to swing in with the one that he's just established with the chi, which is coming in for 8 with Go Again. Wow. And obviously the Shimmers of Silver puts it up to 10. Oh my god. So the Shimmers of Silver, to be fair, should not be there because of the Warmongers, but still, this turn is just absolutely incredible. This sequence of events is going to be... I think it's going to be hard for Azalea to come back into this after that. Wow. Wow. That's just insane. I don't think Azalea can really do anything else now. That is ridiculous. Blocking 3, still taking 7. Still taking 7 from this. Wow, this is insane. Wow. I think we have just seen everything go right for Kenneth in this game. We had the Warmongers, which stunted Azalea. We had the Dissolve Reality, which stunted Azalea. We've had the treble D-react on the huge, not dominated, but the huge Murkmire Grapnel. What else can Kenneth... How much abuse can Kenneth chuck at Azalea here? This is insane. And then... Yeah, still just gesturing here that can still come in for 2 for nothing. So obviously Spectral Shield costs nothing to play, nothing to attack with because of Enigma's ability. Yeah, so blocking for 3, taking 7, going down to 19. Look at that life differential. That is ridiculous. And now taking another 2. Wow. And now Kenneth has so much life to play with because of the fact that he's established all that ward as well. He's got, 5 counters on the mirror guy, 2 counters on the other mirror guy, plus 1 counter on the other things. So that's 8 life there as well on board, which is just insane. But yeah, going over to Carlota's turn, she's going to play Death Dealer, load in the Infecting Shot, and drawing a card. Obviously, Blood Rot's pretty good against heroes with ward because obviously if the damage pops from the Blood Rot, you know, the ward's going to be blown up, so I guess that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is a rough ride for Carlota, unfortunately, in this semi-final. But she's done well to get this far. She bossed the last league, so it's nice to see her again come back for Season 2. But yeah, Release Attention being played, that would have been pivotal if we had that last turn, because I think that one of the sink belows came from Arsenal last turn. But yeah, we got plus 6 on this. This is going to be coming in for 11, with the only on-hit mattering being the Blood Rot. So yeah, so simulating essentially 13 damage over the course of 2 turns there. But yeah, coming in for 11 on this, which is yeah, it's a big number, but Kenneth has just established such a life lead now, and there's going to be stuff that you can do to protect the big mirror guy, which is probably going to be the game plan now, is just riding that mirror guy home to victory, coming in for 10 each turn with the shimmers of silver as well. It's just going to be getting bigger and bigger every time. Or he could just still let the counters, the ward, be eaten up on the big mirror guy, and then just keep building up the other one, or keep building up the other mirror guy, or keep building up the spectral shield even. The ward on board here, is absolutely insane. It can be used offensively and defensively in this scenario, which is just such a shame for the Azalea here to have to try and get a foothold into this now after that insane treble D react and everything else that's happened before. But yeah, Kenneth thinking long and hard about this, because there's a lot of auras established that he can choose to protect or let go, depending on what value he wants to get. And, you know, I think the value of the mirror guy defensively, yeah, there we go. The value of the mirror guy defensively is more than the one that's already established, because the other one that's established, and the spectral shield for that matter, are just going to get bigger and bigger with the shimmers that's out at the moment. So yeah, that's absolutely insane. Now, again, the shimmers should not be there because of the warmongers. So that's a lot of value that, you know, we're getting that maybe shouldn't have been there because of the warmongers. Should have prevented it from being played. But these things happen, and obviously the league means nothing. So there we go. You know, this is just a learning experience, and hopefully a fun experience nonetheless. Probably not for Carlota in this case, but here we go. We've got the manifestations coming in. It's going to gain a counter from the Shimmers of Silver. So this is coming in for 6 with Go Again, which is just insane. That's a Sledge of Anvilheim for 1 pitch. That is insane. Sledge of Anvilheim for 1 pitch. Wow. What do you think of Manifestations of Mirage? Leave a comment in the section below. Is it it's a stupid card, and if you can't deal with it, it's just game ending. It really is. It is a silly card. Very, very silly card. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the section below. But it's coming in for 6 for 1 resource right now. And does have Go Again, doesn't it? Because it's a card that's got a counter and it's swinging, so it's coming in for Go Again as well. So yeah, just an insane turn of events for this Enigma. Just everything's lined up very, very well to deal with the threats that Azalea did have. He's been able to get rid of. So it's just lined up very, very well. And Shimmers is just insane, right? Because it can help on the offense, but also the defense there. And Azalea just taking the whole thing, and then coming in with another 2 with that, so going down to 9. Wow, yeah. There's not much that can be done here, unfortunately, apart from just trying to maybe overextend, use some of that equipment. Maybe you've got some bolt and shots. You maybe need to just try and go a little bit wider, set up something really, really wide so you can get back into the game. But even then, the life differential is so large, it's just going to be hard for Carlota to get back into this. But yeah, we are seeing a bolt and shot be established in the arsenal through Death Dealer drawing a card, and there should be 1 floating over there in that pitch zone, which I'm sure will be rectified soon. But yeah, we are seeing a bolt and shot in the arsenal now, which means that the Azalea could potentially go a little bit wider on this particular turn. Playing a Legs for Frailty, and then coming in for 7 with Go Again. 7 with Go Again if it hits Frailty. Probably not going to hit, though, because there's 5 ward on board right now, which is just insane. But yeah, the fact that Shimmers of Silver can combo with these wards in such a ridiculous way, whether that's offensively or defensively. It's just an insane combo to have out there. Shimmers of Silver, just you need to get rid of it, but in order to get rid of it, you have to waste your entire turn unless you're action point rich. So it's just one of those things that Azalea doesn't really have the tools to deal with. And I think this matchup is definitely winnable for Azalea. It's just the combination of interaction and defense that Kenneth has had access to, whether that's through treble D reacts, getting rid of the Arsenal, Warmongers, Shimmers of Silver doubling up as a defensive card on the Ward 5 Mirror Guy that was swinging in for 10 the previous turn. It's just a cocktail of absolute ridiculousness. And here we are seeing that fully covered up by 2/3 blocks and a Spectral Shield, still protecting that Manifestations of Mirage as the main strategy, just protecting one of those and just continuously swinging in with the Shimmers of Silver established is just absolutely horrible. And we are seeing the Bullseye Braces crack here, so this is going to be a bit of an overextension turn with putting in the Red in the Ledger with +1. So this is going to be able to come in for 6 damage with the resource floating. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. It's going to come in for 6. With the Red in the Ledger on hit effect, of course, and the only thing that Kenneth can do against this is, well, he's got the 3 ward on board for the Mirror Guy, but that seems like what he wants to protect right now. And that seems like the thing that's going to get the most value over the course of the game. But depending on the hand composition and what is in Arsenal as well, he could just say, yeah, all right, I'm going to let this Mirror Guy die. It's going to soak up 3 damage. I can use 1 more card to block, and then I can still come at you with my 2 cards in hand. So, yeah, it's a tough spot, and it's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to let the Mirror Guy die and take 3. Okay. So still under the effect of Red in the Ledger now then, so only 1 action on Enigma's next turn. But as we know, Enigma doesn't play many actions, really. We've got a lot of instants in the deck. There's a couple of big interactive attacks that we've seen Kenneth block with, like Command and Conquer and stuff, but Enigma is definitely primed to be able to work around the Red in the Ledger effect for sure. So we are going to see the Tunic tick up and over to Kenneth's turn, and he's just going to use a Waxing Spectre. And obviously, if you pitch a blue card, it comes in with +1 counter. That, again, in itself is Ward 3 of +1 counter. So that's going to come in for 4 with Go Again, which is just insane, you know. Just insane. 5 because of the Shimmers. Wow, completely forgot about that. Okay, well then, 5 with Go Again for 1 resource. Absolutely insane. Just an insane turn of events here for the Enigma player. Enigma really showing the pure power here and defensive capabilities as well, right? That 16 damage was fully blocked by Kenneth. Maybe a stroke of luck their way with that, but Carlota taking 2 off of this by blocking with the Endless Arrow for 3, going down to 7. And Kenneth was just going to draw up to 4 and pass. Azalea going up to 2 resources on the, or 2 energy on the Tunic, using the cross route to have a look at the top card, flipping over a Red in the Ledger, seeing what's on top, see what we can do here. But again, another thing that's nerfed a little bit on the Azalea side is Dominate. So Dominate is obviously very good for evading cards from hand, but if something is on board already established, it means that you can soak that damage up. And with regards to Kenneth's capabilities here, he can play things at instant speed with Ward, which means he can still potentially block from hand with them if he can pay for it. So Dominate is also nullified in this particular matchup a little bit as well. Unless, of course, you're just absolutely on the gas, which Azalea just has not been able to establish this game because of the interaction that we've seen. But she has activated Azalea and got an infecting shot into the Arsenal, so that will have Dominate this turn. And now she's just going to be firing that off for 5, by the looks of it, with Dominate. So again, yeah, Kenneth can block this fully out by committing a card from hand, or maybe even something from Arsenal, and letting the Waxing Spectre eat the rest, and then Kenneth can just come back on their turn with more things. Yeah, coming in for 5 here with the Blood Rot on hit potentially, and yeah, just blocking for 3 and letting the Waxing take the 2. Oh, it's actually 3, isn't it? Sorry, yeah. So it's 3 and 3 right now, because obviously waxing wards for 3. So it's just the 2 counters that are for its attack purposes, I should say. So yeah, currently warding, blocking 6 with the physical defense of the Phantasmaclasm and the waxing spectre value of 3 on this at the moment. Unless we're going to reactions and maybe doing something else. We are. Okay, so we're going to be playing a Restless Coalescence, a ridiculous card, which is going to eat all of the counters from the Waxing Spectre, or it's just going to eat one of the counters from the Waxing Spectre. And then Kenneth is going to remove one of the counters from the Restless Coalescence that was eaten the counter from the Waxing, to then cover up enough damage to keep the Waxing around, plus a Spectral Shield. Wow, okay, yeah, so... See what I mean there? Like, you know, the Dominate was completely useless because of the fact that Kenneth can just ward it from hand using instant speed shenanigans, which is just insane. So Enigma just capable of operating on all kinds of different angles and fronts here. Yeah, so with the go again, Carlota has been able to activate Death Dealer to put in a Bolt and Shot and draw a card. Be interesting to see what the follow-up is. So we've got a Bolt and Shot coming in for 4 with no go again, but there's 2 cards in hand. So a Bolt and Shot, a naked Bolt and Shot is always sus, that I will say. So there could be a Rain Razors behind this, and then a potential follow-up of maybe another 0-cost card, which will reload from Bolt and Shot, or maybe even like a Codex as well, because obviously that's a 0-cost. Funnily enough, yeah, a naked Bolt and Shot is always a little bit sus, and especially with 2 cards in hand as well, it does signify that there is something coming after this as well, perhaps. So Kenneth does have that world to live in right now, but with the life differential here, it's just, you know, it's just what is Kenneth's plan now with regard to protecting the board state that he's got, because obviously that's the main thing that's getting a lot of value. And yet we are seeing the Rain Razors pushing up the Bolt and Shot to 6 damage instead, which is going to threaten a on-hit of reload. So we've got the Waxing and the Spectral Shield blocking for 3 here on the ward. And Kenneth is going to be taking the 3, and the Bolt and Shot is going to trigger. But it is a Codex instead, so obviously the Rain Razors effect is still going to be in play for Codex, and that's going to allow Carlota to go and get a Arrow card back into the arsenal and then fire it with that extra +2 from the Rain Razors, which is still there, hanging around, which is pretty good. And obviously getting the Ponder, and Kenneth getting the Frailty. So yeah, that could matter, because obviously the Spectral Shields come in for 1 on their own, or 2 if they've got a counter. So the Frailty might nullify some of those Spectral Shields if Kenneth establishes them. Yeah, Carlota is just searching through the graveyard to see what arrow she wants to fire. Probably going to be the Drill Shot, because she's going to get a Ponder anyway from the Codex Ponder generation effect. So she probably doesn't really need to go for something like Endless Arrow, which I believe she's blocked with already before. So the Drill Shot probably seems like the best value, because you can potentially put it on something that blocks like Tunic. So that's probably what she's going to be searching for here. The other options would be like things like Bolt and Shot, maybe Searing Shot if it's in the list. I'm not sure if it is. So yeah, a Drill Shot seems to be the best choice from the selection that she has in the graveyard at the moment. But yeah, this is definitely a tough one for Azalea nonetheless. I mean, it's just, yes, it's the opening exchanges between the 2 players here were just so heavily tilted towards Enigma. We've seen both of the Mirror guys come and go, so there's only 1 Mirror guy left. That did a lot of damage and soaked up a lot of damage there as well. So Shimmers and Mirror Guy and all the other stuff that's sort of culminated in where we are now is the result of what we're seeing here. And she is going to choose an Endless Arrow, despite the fact she does have a Ponder. So, interesting choice. She is going to have a Ponder, though, anyway, so she will get an arsenal established regardless of whether this hits. So, but maybe she just wants the Endless Arrow available in hand, potentially, or threatening the fact that it's always going to come back. Maybe that's the play. Or maybe she's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna get this back and then fire it at the shimmers, because the shimmers seems to be, yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I think she's probably just gonna fire the, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's just gonna, doesn't really matter what arrow was chosen there, because we're just gonna fire it at shimmers anyway and pass the turn essentially. So yeah. And the endless arrow, of course, does not come back to hand because it's just a Spectra trigger. So it just goes back to the graveyard, basically, and that's pretty much it. So the Ponder's going to trigger. That's just going to go straight in the arsenal. And yeah, that's it. Over to Kenneth now. And of course, Kenneth not really affected by the Codex because he already had an arsenal established. So not really affecting Kenneth that much. Obviously, the Frailty is there, so that could come into effect this turn. He's going to put the Tunic up to 3 and have a resource available this turn from there if he wants. But Enigma coming back at Azalea now, 33 to 7 on a 3-card hand with the Frailty. What is going to be happening now? And please, if you like the content, please consider supporting us on the Patreon. That'll be fantastic. I've had a couple of members join recently, which is really, really nice. It helps me continue to do a lot of this content. This content takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of organisation as well. So yeah, if you really, really like the stuff that's being put out on the League That Means Nothing and the Flesh and Blood CC content here on the channel, then please consider doing that, even at a very, very low level. It would help a lot. But yeah, here comes Kenneth with an attack for 2. Oh no, sorry, just 1. No. Nothing. Oh, okay, right, that makes sense. He was attacking for nothing because of the Frailty, and now he's just played an Astral Etchings, which is going to put 3 counters on the Spectral Shield. So that definitely makes sense. And that's coming in for what, 2 now? So it's got 3 counters. No, it's coming in for coming in for 3 because it gets 1 damage from the ward and then plus 3 from the counters, but the minus the Frailty is going to be 3 damage. Yeah, okay, cool. Makes sense. A little bit confusing sometimes, but there we go. Carlota taking the 3 damage, and now Kenneth playing another Restless Coalescence, which can eat all of those counters if it wants to, and it's definitely going to be doing that. Wow, and obviously with the resource floating, that's going to come in for 5. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And now Kenneth can just spread the board with the Restless Coalescence as well by removing the counters to create more shields, which is just insane. Like, Restless Coalescence, again, another massive card in the deck. And that's what he's done now. He's just taken the counter off. Because the more Spectral Shields you have, the more breakpoints you can cover up, which is just insane. Plus, obviously, the Spectral Shield, the first Spectral Shield costs nothing. Then the next one costs 1, of course, or any aura costs 1. So you can just do the whole ping, 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 ping situation, especially when you get them down to low life like this. It's just not a nice situation for Azalea to be in here, unfortunately. As we approach here, a 30 life differential. This is a sad way for Carlota to end her second stint on the League That Means Nothing. But this is a large attack coming in here, coming in with a double Seek and Destroy, Lace With, and a Sleep Dart coming in. So this is going to be coming in for 14 damage. 9 plus 5. Coming in for 14 damage, threatening a Blood Rot, a Seek and Destroy effect, and a Sleep Dart effect. So a myriad of on-hits being presented. Carlota is just showing off the little tokens that I made. That little gold Frailty writing is what I actually wrote on there. I actually wrote that on the card. So every set is like a different piece of handwriting. But yeah, come and see me in Osaka if you want those tokens. Only very, very limited number available. But I do have some Go Again Gaming Japan tokens and some Azalea Cult membership cards to hand out as well if you find me. So come and do that. Yeah, currently coming in for 14 damage. Not threatening a Frailty. I think that was just Carlota checking the previous turn whether the Frailty was considered, which it all was. Yeah, all the maths worked out correctly on the last turn for Kenneth under the effect of Frailty. But yeah, coming in for 14 damage is a lot of damage to be staring down. Yeah, and Kenneth still has 4 block on board there with the Restless and the 2 Spectral Shields. And of course, this card or this attack is not dominated, which means he can block with any number of cards he chooses from the hand. It looks like he's just trying to work out what the best way is to do this, but it looks like he's going to be ticking down the Restless Coalescence to create another Spectral Shield. So now a ward of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on board now, because obviously the Restless is a ward of 2, so it's ward 5 on board currently. It's coming in for 14, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So everything is being eaten up here, so it needs to cover... Don't tell me... He needs to cover 7 damage. No, is it 7? What is it? No, okay. All right. So he's going to be taking... so he soaked up 5 of that damage and he's taking the rest. I was going to say, there can't be another load of D-reacts, surely. Whew. Okay, right. So he's under the effect of Seek and Destroy, and he's also under the effect of Blood Rot Pox, and he's got a Sleep Dart as well. So quite a myriad of effects that Kenneth is going to have to deal with this turn. It's going to be interesting to see what is going to be happening here. And I think these instants are being played before the damage is done, which I think is what the sequencing is on these. But yeah, it's just going to be shuffling his deck from the Stir the Pot. Now, both of these will transcend as well because it's blue into blue. So, yep, the Stir the Pot is going to transcend. And obviously the Rising Sun, Set and Moon is going to resolve last because that was the first thing played. That was the last thing on the stack, per se. He's going to draw a card and then put a card on the bottom of his deck. Nice little card filtering transcend card, which is pretty nice. So a card goes back on the bottom, and obviously the Rising Sun will transcend as well. And now he's going to be using that chi to pitch into Enigma. Obviously, of course, getting a +1 counter on that through the use of the chi on the hero ability. And all of that happened before the end of Carlota's turn. So I believe he took the damage and then decided to do the stuff at the end of Carlota's turn, just making sure that he can use the cards effectively, because obviously he's going to have to lose them anyway because of the Seek and Destroy trigger that's about to happen on the end of his turn. So again, just Enigma being able to really sort of craft the ideal hands depending on the situation based on the fact that she can play anything, well, not anything, but a lot of things that she wants to at instant speed. But yeah, some good play there from Kenneth to make sure that all cards and all value is not missed. And of course, he's just making sure that he remembers all of the different on hits there with the Blood Rot, the Seek and Destroy, and the Sleepy Sleep Dart token, or the Sleep Dart effect, which means you can't activate Enigma or do anything Enigma related. And again, look, obviously you can see on Carlota's side, she's got a Seek and Destroy, a Blood Rot Pox, and a Sleep Dart token, all reminding her of the effects that Enigma is under. But yeah, Enigma's just going to come in for 2 with this Spectral Shield, having to pitch for it this time because of the fact that Enigma is turned off, which I'm hoping is something that's been caught there. Yeah, he did pitch for it using a Ripple Away, so yeah, Enigma's turned off currently. But that is being blocked with a Premeditate, a card that you don't really see being used to block. And this is, again, a perfect string of attacks for Kenneth because he's just now stripping cards away. So 3 go again on the levels of Enlightenment. Obviously being turned on for 1 mode because he's played the... he's pitched the Ripple Away. And again, yep, just having to block that for 3 of a Bolt and Shot to survive. Obviously the Tunic and the Cross Wrap still available as blocks on the equipment, but you don't really want to be getting those because obviously Skullbone is really an extension of Azalea's hero power, really. And that's pretty much it. That is the turn. Azalea having to operate on 2-card hand now, which could just be a load bow and fire it situation. Because obviously you always draw resource off the top of your deck when you lose Death Dealer. But yeah, Tunic's going to go on first, and now we're going to be playing a Premeditate and a Codex. Okay, so not a wasteful turn there. Being able to get an arrow back with Codex is always a good line. And of course, getting the Ponder to go into your next turn is always good with Azalea as well. One of the cards that really pushed Azalea over the edge with outsiders is this Codex of Frailty. Just having that Ponder, that Arsenal going into your next turn with the extension of not only Azalea's hero ability being able to access the top card of your deck, but being able to select the card with cross-wrap as well and just see what is coming and what can be played is just why a lot of people love Azalea, and probably why a lot of people are loving Dash IO at the moment, because Dash can also look at the top card of a deck and play it off the top as well. So yeah, it's a nice hero ability to have. But yeah, so Kenneth having to establish an arsenal there because he had nothing and discarding an Astral Etchings. Now Carlota is going to use the cross wrap here from the Codex, reloading something essentially into the arsenal, and then coming in with an Endless Arrow for 7. With the on-hit effect of the Endless Arrow going back to hand, and the on-hit effect of another Ponder token being created through Premeditate. And again, oh wow. Okay, another unmovable. Jeez. Okay, Azalea just has not had a good time this game, has she? Wow, this is tough. This is really tough. And of course, the Spectral Shield just coming in for 2 go again each turn is just, well, they've obviously got the frailty there, but still, it's just a Kodachi constantly, isn't it? It's stronger than a Kodachi, but this, at the moment, it is just a Kodachi for 1. And you're going to be locked into that life total soon. And Kenneth has still got a follow-up after this. God knows what it's going to be, but it's just scary, and it's really hard to justify a way back into this for Carlota's Azalea player here, or Carlota's Azalea. Finally choosing to cash in the... wow, okay. Coming in with a Phantasmaclasm from Arsenal, coming in for 8 because of the Frailty token. That's still a huge amount of damage, still double the amount, and then some of the current life total of Carlota, but that is not nice to see. Wow. And of course, the Phantasmaclasm effect is going to be taking away that popper. Oh wow! It's just lining up perfectly for Kenneth, but just really badly for Carlota. So Carlota would have been able to pop that there with the battering bolt, but Kenneth just says no, you're not having it. So I'm going to draw a card here and see if it's a popper. Is it a popper? Is there a way back into this for me? Carlota is saying. Not that I can hear what she's saying because I've got them muted, but that's what it feels like right now. Please just give me a way back into this. And Phantasmaclasm, classic card, an amazing piece of art as well. Coming out of Monarch, it's like one of the sets I got into the game with. I started the game when Monarch was being released. Pre-releases were happening for Monarch when I started playing back in May 2021. It just goes all the way back to 2021. That's crazy. Nearly 4 years of this game that I've been involved with anyway. Absolute classic. Just coming back now in 2024 with Enigma. Phantasmaclasm seeing play now. Shitty because of the amount of blues in the deck, right? It's just a 1-card 9, which is just insane. It blocks for 3. It's just a great card in general. Massive numbers. And especially like this as well, where Kenneth had, 2-card hand? Yeah, it's just a 2-card hand. Came in for free with the Spectral Shield, and then said, yeah, okay, send a Phantasmaclasm at you. And you get all the information as well as to what you're going to deal with next turn, which when you're ahead is just great. If you can piece together what your opponent's doing, information is great. And yeah, an 8 attack to boot is just pretty ridiculous. And Azalea having to block with a lot of cards there to just save the life total. Yeah, over to Carlota's turn on 3 life with 1 card in hand and 1 in arsenal. We're going to activate the cross wrap to flip up the Lace with Blood Rot and have a look to see what is on top of the deck. And we are going to be using Azalea's ability to put in a Remorseless, which is going to have Dominate. So we've got that, at least. I'm not sure what gesturing at the Endless Arrow and the Remorseless is at the moment here, but Carlota has ripped off the Remorseless off the top of the deck and is now looking like she's going to be pitching to the Remorseless to come in for 5 with Dominate, of course. It's funny actually as well, because when I'm recording this video, I'm actually going to be seeing Carlota and Carlos from Fabritorium tomorrow, actually. So they're actually in the UK right now. Yeah, I'm going to be meeting them in Bath for a spot of lunch tomorrow, which will be nice. So you might see a picture of me and the Fabritorium team on the socials. And what a surprise! There is another unmovable. Kenneth just doesn't want to move. He's just stood there the whole time. Stood there the whole time, just like, yeah, I'm not moving anywhere. I'm just staying here. Wow, that's insane. So all 3 unmovables have been seen this game, which is just one of those cards that can really just stunt Azalea because it just blocks for so much. And Kenneth just been like, yeah, okay, my turn. I'm just going to come in for 2 with Go Again. And then follow up with probably something else, which is massive. But we will see. I mean, full transparency, I did edit these games a couple of nights ago, but I've already forgotten the general play patterns. You know, when you're editing, you know, till like 12, 1 a.m., you're just flashing up cards as the players describe it. You don't really take a note of what the gameplay is, but watching it back, there are obviously pieces I remember. But there we go. That's why I like to get Ian and other people to commentate the games, because I edit them, so I see them all in advance. So yeah, but yeah, it's good to watch these back and good to commentate them all for you, and I hope you enjoy it. And we are going to see a block here from the Bolton shot, just covering up the 2 from the Spectral Shield, and now Kenneth is going to follow up with something else. Depends what this is. It's going to be using the Tunic for it. Oh, another Phantasmaclasm coming in for 9. Again, revealing the hand and choosing one of those to go to the bottom of the deck and draw a card. So we are seeing Murkmire, Knock, and Lacewith. Wow. What he's going to choose here. Murkmire's pretty good, but he's getting rid of the Knock. Interesting. And then replacing it with another Knock. Okay, so so that Phantasmaclasm is just coming in for 9. Just coming in for 9, but has Kenneth now has perfect information about what Azalea is going to be doing next turn. But she's going to be blocking everything because she can't afford to not block. So having to give up the entire hand now. This is just a waiting game to see how Kenneth can finish off the game here. And now you're in the Spectral Shield +1 lock, so you always have to block the Spectral Shield with something. And Azalea's cards just don't want to block. That's not where your value is. It's just not a blocking game, really. But seeing a Read the Glide Path come down to get rid of it, and now we are pitching or playing 2 Transcend cards here. Preserve the Tradition is getting back something into the deck. I didn't see what it was. And obviously an Homage is just going to gain Kenneth a life. Yeah, why not? And now he's just going to get 2 cheese to hand because of the double Transcend. And now he's going to pitch into Enigma to get another Spectral Shield into play with a +1 counter. So the game is grinding to a halt here, but there is not much Carlota can do while having to block every single Spectral Shield with a card. And this again is coming in for 2 on this Spectral Shield. This is rough. This is rough for Azalea. And having to block with, again, another great buff. And Kenneth just finishing off with a Haze Bending. All right. So, yeah, okay. Whenever another non-illusionist, non-token aura you control is destroyed, get a Spectral Shield. Why not? And Carlota just revealing the hand, just being like, I can't do anything. Kill me. Please kill me. End my misery. I do remember that. I do remember on the player audio, Carlota just being like, please just end me. End my misery, please. I'm dead already. Kenneth sat on 25 after gaining a life is just an absolute kick in the teeth with the gaining a life. Just the cheek of it. But yeah, coming in for 2 with Go Again. That's going to force a block. 2 with Go Again. Gonna force a block. Is there anything Carlota can do at this point? Probably not, unfortunately. Yep, there we go. Block for 2, Seek and Destroy. Next. Yep, give it to me. Give it to me. Coming in for 2 with Go Again. What are you going to do? Block for 2. There we go. Good, efficient blocking here. 2, 2. And now coming in with a second tentative Chi Wind, which is just 5 damage. Just a blue for 5. Blocking the full hand. Taking the full hand away. Which means it's going to fall back onto Kenneth again to try and close out this game. This is painful towards the end here. Just having to sit through imminent death. And Carlota just choosing to flip into an amplifying arrow and come in for 2 with Dominate. Brilliant. Perfect. It's not even a 2 on that dice, but he's going to Fate Foreseen it anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Carlota. He's Fate Foreseened it. It's gone. It's dead. Dead in the water. His D-React is double your arrow. Oh, dear. This is tough. This is tough. Grinding to a halt now. Kenneth on 3 tunic counters. So he does have a resource available. Coming in for 2 with the Spectral Shield. Again, stripping a card from Azalea's hand. It's going to be a Codex coming down for a defensive value of 2. Coming in with another 2 with the Spectral Shield. Just stripping cards away now. Getting rid of the knock. And now another Phantasmaclasm, which is the game, because she can't block. Wow. GG's. That was pretty tough for Azalea. Wow. Kenneth just being able to really interact with every single part of that early game was just pivotal for the win there. Establishing 2 mirror guys, 1 for just insane attacking value, 1 for massive defensive value. That was just really, really rough for Carlota there, and just showing the raw power of Enigma, both offensively and defensively. So Kenneth is through to the final of the League That Means Nothing Season 2. So well done to Kenneth. Kenneth played in the league last season as Dromai, so just an absolute out-and-out illusionist player, and just a really, really nice guy as well. I actually went out with him in Hartford. So me, Logan, and Mocha, or Kenneth, as you know him now, went out to a bar in Hartford, and we stayed out till like 4 a.m. that night. It was fantastic. Really, really fond memories of Kenneth. But yeah, well done to Kenneth, and yeah, he'll be in the final, facing off either against a Viserai or another Enigma. We will see. But thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Az from Go Again Gaming, the host of this league, the editor of this league. It's only me. It's only me doing all of this editing and all that good stuff. So I want to thank Ian Holland for jumping in to do a lot of the commentary this league. And yeah, you'll see him a lot on the next season again. But I just thought I'd wrap all this up myself so we can get ready for Japan, which is only in a few days' time. My flight is going out there very soon. But until we do it all over again here on Go Again Gaming, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the semi-finals for the second top 4 game tomorrow. Cheers.